Maya Rodriguez stood at her station on the bridge of the Terra Nova, watching the stars through the main view screen. She had been a lieutenant in the Earth Defense Corps for 3 years now, but this was her first deep space mission. The ship was humanity's newest exploration vessel, sent to make contact with alien civilizations beyond Earth's solar system. "Contact on sensors," called out Communications Officer Kate Williams from her station. "It's big, Captain. Really big." "Captain." Jake Morrison moved to the center of the bridge, his face serious. "How big are we talking?" 10 times our size, sir," replied Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks, reading from his instruments. "And it's moving toward us fast." Maya felt her heart race. This was it. First contact with an alien species. Everything they had trained for, everything humanity had dreamed about for centuries, was about to happen. She checked her sidearm and made sure her uniform was straight. The massive alien ship appeared on the view screen. It was dark and angular, covered in spikes and weapons. It looked more like a fortress than a spacecraft. Red lights pulsed along its hull like a heartbeat. "Incoming transmission," Kate announced, her fingers dancing over her controls. "Put it on screen," Captain Morrison ordered. The view screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at the most terrifying creature Maya had ever seen. It stood at least 9 feet tall with thick gray skin that looked like natural armor. Its face was long and narrow, with 4 yellow eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Sharp teeth filled its mouth, and its hands ended in claws that could easily tear through metal. "I am Vestan the Bone Crusher, War Chief of the Carvani Empire." The creature spoke in perfect English, though his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Your species is now under our control. You will surrender your ship and prepare to be taken to the processing centers." Captain Morrison stepped forward. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Terra Nova. We come in peace. We're explorers, not warriors. Perhaps we can negotiate." Vestan laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Negotiate? You misunderstand, human. There is no negotiation. There is only surrender or death. Your species looks weak and soft. We have conquered 47 worlds, and all their people now serve the Carvani Empire." "We're not looking for trouble," Morrison tried again. "Maybe. We can find a way to work together." "Work together?" Vestan's 4 eyes focused on the screen. "Show me your strongest warrior. I will demonstrate why resistance is impossible." Maya saw Captain Morrison hesitate. She knew what he was thinking. None of them were trained soldiers, not really. They were scientists and explorers, but someone had to step forward. "I'll do it," Maya said, surprising herself with her own courage. "Maya, no," Morrison whispered, but she was already moving toward the center of the bridge. "I'm Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez," she said, looking directly at the alien warlord. "If you want to see our strength, you can test it against me." Vestan studied her through the screen. Maya was 5 feet 6 inches tall and had the build of someone who worked out regularly but was not a professional athlete. Compared to the massive alien, she looked tiny. "This is your champion?" Vestan asked with amusement. "This small female? Very well. I will come aboard your vessel and show you personally why your species should fear the Carvani." The transmission ended and the bridge fell silent. "Maya, what were you thinking?" Dr. Alex Carter asked. He was the ship's xenobiologist, a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses who had never been in a fight in his life. "Someone had to do something," Maya replied, though she was starting to wonder if she had made a terrible mistake. 20 minutes later, a smaller ship detached from the alien vessel and docked with the Terra Nova. The airlock cycled, and Vestan stepped aboard, followed by 4 other Carvani warriors. Up close, they were even more intimidating. Their natural armor gleamed under the ship's lights, and their claws scraped against the metal floor as they walked. The aliens were led to the bridge, where the entire crew waited nervously. Vestan looked around at the humans, his 4 eyes taking in every detail. He seemed particularly interested in their size and build. "So small," he muttered. "So fragile. How did your species even survive to develop space travel?" "We're tougher than we look," Maya said, stepping forward. Vestan moved toward her with surprising speed for something so large. "Are you? Let me test that claim." Before anyone could react, the alien warlord reached out and grabbed Maya's right wrist in his massive clawed hand. His grip was tight, designed to crush human bones like twigs. This was his signature move, the reason they called him the Bone Crusher. He had done this to the leaders of dozens of worlds, breaking their bones to show their people that resistance was useless. "Feel that pressure, little human," Vestan said, his voice filled with cruel satisfaction. "In a moment I will crush every bone in your arm. Your crew will hear you scream, and then they will understand that your species belongs to us now." Maya looked down at the alien's hand wrapped around her wrist. She could feel the pressure, but it didn't hurt as much as she expected. In fact, it felt like a firm handshake rather than the bone-crushing grip it was supposed to be. "Is that all?" she asked, looking up at Vestan with confusion. The warlord's 4 eyes widened in surprise. He increased the pressure, his claws digging into Maya's skin. Still, her bones didn't break. "Impossible," he whispered. Without thinking, Maya began to squeeze back. Her small human hand wrapped around 2 of Vestan's thick fingers. She wasn't trying to hurt him, just to match his grip strength. The sound came first, a wet cracking noise like branches breaking in a storm. Then Vestan screamed, a sound of pure agony that echoed through the bridge. His hand exploded in Maya's grip, bones shattering into dozens of sharp fragments that scattered across the floor. The massive alien warlord collapsed to his knees, cradling the ruined remains of his hand against his chest. Yellow blood dripped between his fingers. His 4 eyes stared up at Maya in shock and terror. "How?" he gasped. "How is this possible?" Maya stared down at her own hand, which was completely unharmed except for a few small cuts from the alien's claws. She had no idea what had just happened. The bridge of the Terra Nova erupted in chaos. The 4 Carvani warriors who had come with Vestan raised their weapons, but they seemed frozen in shock. Their leader, the feared Bone Crusher who had never been defeated in personal combat, was on his knees screaming in pain. Dr. Lisa Thompson, the ship's medical officer, rushed forward with her emergency kit. She was a small woman with graying hair who had treated everything from broken bones to alien parasites, but she had never seen anything like this. "Don't move," she told Vestan as she knelt beside him. "Let me see the damage." The alien warlord's hand was completely destroyed. Bone fragments stuck out of his gray flesh and yellow blood pooled on the metal floor. His 4 eyes rolled back in his head as shock set in. "Get him to medical bay," Dr. Thompson ordered. "Now." 2 of the Carvani warriors moved to help their leader, but Captain Morrison stepped in their way. "Weapons down first, all of them." The aliens looked at each other uncertainly. Without their leader's orders, they seemed lost. Finally, the largest, one dropped his rifle to the floor. The others followed. Maya stood in the center of the bridge, staring at her right hand. There was no pain, no damage except for a few small scratches where the alien's claws had touched her skin. She flexed her fingers experimentally. Everything felt normal. "How did you do that?" Dr. Alex Carter asked, approaching her carefully. His scientific mind was already racing with possibilities. "I don't know," Maya replied honestly. "He grabbed my wrist and tried to crush it, but it just felt like a firm handshake. When I squeezed back, his hand just broke apart." Dr. Carter pulled out his medical scanner and ran it over Maya's arm. The device beeped and hummed as it analyzed her bone density, muscle composition, and nervous system. "This is incredible," he whispered, reading the results. "Maya, your bone density is off the charts. Your muscle fibers are packed twice as tight as normal. According to this scanner, you have the physical strength of a small industrial machine." "That's impossible," Maya said. "I'm just a regular person. I work out a few times a week, but I'm not some kind of super soldier." Dr. Carter shook his head. "You're not understanding. This isn't about exercise or training. This is about evolution, about the kind of world we came from." Captain Morrison joined them, keeping one eye on the Carvani warriors who were helping their injured leader toward the medical bay. "What are you saying, Alex?" "Think about it," Dr. Carter said, his excitement growing. "Earth isn't like other worlds. We evolved alongside saber-toothed tigers, cave bears, giant sharks, and thousands of other predators. For millions of years, Only the strongest humans survived long enough to have children. He pulled up a holographic display showing human anatomy. Look at this. Our bones are solid and dense. Most alien species we've studied have hollow or lighter bones because they evolved on worlds with lower gravity and fewer predators. We're built like tanks compared to them. Maya looked down at her hands again. They seemed so normal, so ordinary, but I've never felt particularly strong. Because you're comparing yourself to other humans, Dr. Carter explained. We're all built the same way. We all come from the same death world. In the medical bay, Dr. Thompson was struggling to treat Vexithan's injuries. The alien's anatomy was completely different from human physiology. His bones were hollow like a bird's, designed for a world with much lighter gravity. What would have been a firm grip for a human had been like putting his hand in a mechanical crusher. The bone fragments have damaged several of his major blood vessels, Dr. Thompson reported over the comm system. I'm doing what I can, but I don't know enough about Carvani biology to guarantee success. Vexthan drifted in and out of consciousness, but during his lucid moments he stared at Maya with a mixture of fear and fascination. What kind of world creates monsters like you? He whispered. We're not monsters, Maya replied gently. We're just people. Just people? Vexthan laughed bitterly. I have conquered 47 worlds. I have faced warriors from 100 different species. None of them could do what you just did with such ease. Dr. Carter leaned over the alien. Warlord, what's the gravity on your homeworld? Gravity. Vexthan looked confused. Standard galactic gravity, 0.37 units. Dr. Carter did quick calculations in his head. That's about 1/3 of Earth's gravity. No wonder we seem so strong to you. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Communications Officer Kate Williams was monitoring transmissions from the Carvani fleet. Captain, you need to hear this, she said, her face pale. Morrison moved to her station. What is it? The Carvani ships are broadcasting to their command structure, Kate explained. They're calling for reinforcements, but they're also sending warning messages. Listen to this. She played the transmission through the bridge speakers. Even though it was in the alien language, the computer provided a translation. The voice sounded panicked. High Command, this is Fleet Commander Kelmora aboard the Death's Edge. War Chief Vexthan has been defeated by the humans. They possess strength beyond anything in our databases. Request immediate classification upgrade. Recommend extreme caution. Captain Morrison felt a chill run down his spine. Classification upgrade? Another transmission followed. This one was from Carvani High Command, and the translated voice sounded cold and calculating. Fleet Commander Kelmora, you will maintain position around the human vessel. Do not engage. We are reviewing all available data on this species. Initial analysis suggests they may be a Category 9 extinction event. The bridge fell silent. Even the Carvani warriors who were still present looked shocked. What's a Category 9 extinction event? Maya asked. One of the alien soldiers, a smaller Carvani with intricate scars on his armor, spoke up. It is the highest threat classification in the Empire. It is reserved for species that can destroy entire civilizations, sentient plagues, reality manipulators, world eaters. And now humans, Dr. Carter said quietly. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks, who had been quietly running scans of the Carvani equipment, looked up from his station. Captain, I'm reading some interesting data from their weapons and armor. The metal composition is much lighter than our materials. Their energy weapons are designed for precision rather than power. What does that mean? Morrison asked. It means they're not used to fighting enemies who can survive their attacks, Brooks explained. Their whole military doctrine is based on intimidation and superior technology, not raw firepower. They've never had to deal with an enemy who could physically overpower them. Dr. Thompson's voice came over the intercom. Captain, Vexthan is stable for now, but he wants to speak with Lieutenant Rodriguez. He says it's important. Maya looked at Captain Morrison, who nodded his approval. She made her way to the medical bay where Vexthan lay on the treatment table. His right hand was wrapped in medical bandages, but she could see the shape of the splints underneath. You wanted to see me? Maya asked. Vexthan's 4 eyes focused on her with difficulty. I need to understand. How many of your people possess this strength? Maya considered the question. All of us, I guess. We're all human. The alien warlord closed his eyes and was quiet for a long moment. When he opened them again, there was something different in his expression. Not just fear, but respect. We have made a terrible mistake, he whispered. 2 days had passed since the incident on the bridge. Vextan remained in the medical bay under Dr. Thompson's care, while his fleet of warships surrounded the Terra Nova at a respectful distance. The aliens had made no hostile moves, but they also refused to leave. Maya visited the medical bay every few hours to check on their unwilling guest. She found the alien warlord awake, staring at the ceiling with his 4 yellow eyes. How are you feeling? She asked, pulling up a chair beside his bed. Vextan turned his head toward her. The pain medication Dr. Thompson had given him made his movements slow and careful. Your doctor says my hand will never function properly again. Too much bone. Damage. I'm sorry, Maya said, and she meant it. I didn't mean to hurt you that badly, I was just reacting. Just reacting, Vextan repeated the word slowly. You destroyed my hand without even trying. Do you understand what that means? Before Maya could answer, Dr. Carter entered the medical bay carrying a tablet full of data. Maya, I've been running more tests on the Carvani equipment. You need to see this. He activated the tablet's holographic display, showing a comparison between human and Carvani physiology. Look at the bone density measurements. The average Carvani has bones that are 60% lighter than human bones. Their muscle fibers are designed for speed and agility, not strength. Vextan listened to the explanation with growing interest. You are studying us like specimens. We're trying to understand how this happened, Dr. Carter replied. Your species evolved on a low-gravity world with minimal predation. You developed intelligence and technology as your primary survival tools. Humans evolved on a high-gravity deathworld, where physical strength was necessary for survival. Deathworld? Vextan asked. Maya nodded. That's what other species call Earth. Dr. Carter showed me the databases from your ship. Most habitable worlds have gravity between 0.3 and 0.5 Earth standard. Most have ecosystems with a few dozen. Dangerous species. Earth has thousands of predators, extreme weather, natural disasters, and 3 times normal gravity. Impossible, Vextan whispered. No intelligent species could evolve under such conditions. But we did, Maya said simply. And now we're here. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks entered the medical bay looking excited. Sorry to interrupt, but I've been analyzing the Carvani ship designs. Captain Morrison wants everyone to hear this. They moved to the main briefing room where the senior staff had gathered. Captain Morrison activated the wall display showing technical blueprints of the alien vessels. Tell them what you found, Ryan, Morrison said. Brooks stood up and pointed to the ship schematics. The Carvani fleet is impressive, but it's not designed for real warfare. Their ships are built for intimidation and rapid deployment. Thin armor, efficient engines, precision weapons. What does that mean in practical terms? Asked Communications Officer Kate Williams. It means they've never fought anyone who could fight back, Brooks explained. Every species they've conquered was either too primitive to resist or too peaceful to put up a real fight. Their entire military strategy is based on psychological warfare. Dr. Thompson, who had been monitoring Vextan's vital signs remotely, looked up from her medical scanner. That would explain his reaction to Maya's strength. His species has probably never encountered physical resistance before. Vextan, who was listening from his wheelchair, spoke up. You are correct. The Carvani Empire conquered 47 worlds in 200 years. Most surrendered after our first demonstration of superior technology. The few that resisted were defeated by our ship-based weapons. You never fought ground battles, Maya asked. Why would we? Vextan replied. Our enemies were too weak to pose a threat in personal combat. A single Carvani warrior could defeat dozens of their strongest fighters. Security Chief Danny Rodriguez, Maya's older brother, had been quiet during the briefing. Now he stood, up and looked directly at Vestan. What happens when you encounter a species that can't be intimidated? What happens when your psychological warfare doesn't work? Vestan was quiet for a long moment. We have contingency plans. Orbital bombardment. Biological weapons. Complete sterilization of hostile worlds. The briefing room fell silent. The implications were clear and terrifying. Captain Morrison leaned forward. How many species have you completely destroyed? 3, Vestan answered without emotion. They were classified as uncontrollable. The Empire decided they were too dangerous to allow survival. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. And now they're classifying humans as a Category 9 extinction event. Yes, Vestan said simply. My fleet has orders to contain you while High Command decides your fate. If they determine that humanity poses too great a threat to the Empire, they will order your world's destruction. Dr. Carter looked at his tablet nervously. How long do we have? The decision-makers are 3 weeks away by fastest ship, Vestan replied. But they may choose to act without waiting for physical confirmation. Danny Rodriguez stood up abruptly. We need to contact Earth immediately. Get our people ready for what's coming. I've been trying, Kate Williams said from her station. But the Carvani ships are jamming our communications. Nothing gets in or out. Captain Morrison turned to Vestan. Can you stop this? Can you convince your people that we're not a threat? The alien warlord looked down at his bandaged hand. I am no longer in command of this fleet. My defeat has cost me my authority. War Chief Kelmora leads now, and she sees humans as a disease to be cured. As if summoned by his words, Kate Williams looked up from her communication station. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Carvani flagship. It's directed at Vestan. Put it through, Morrison ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing another Carvani warrior. This one was smaller than Vestan but covered in intricate battle scars. Her 4 eyes glowed with cold intelligence. Former War Chief Vestan, the alien on the screen said, her voice filled with contempt. I am War Chief Kelmora. I have assumed command of this fleet due to your obvious unfitness for leadership. Vestan struggled to sit up straighter in his wheelchair. Kelmora, you must listen to me. These humans are not what they appear to be. I can see exactly what they are, Kelmora replied. Primitive creatures who got lucky against a weakened leader. High Command has given me new orders. I am to test human capabilities through controlled combat trials. What does that mean? Maya asked. Kelmora's attention shifted to her. It means, small human, that I will be sending warriors to your ship to fight your strongest fighters. When they are all dead, we will have proper data to send to High Command. And if we refuse to fight, Captain Morrison asked, then I will begin destroying human settlements until you comply. Kelmora answered without emotion. We have located several of your colony worlds. They would make excellent examples. Dr. Carter stepped forward. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Humans aren't just physically stronger than your species. We're adapted for warfare in ways you can't imagine. Kelmora laughed, a sound like breaking metal. You defeated one injured aging warrior. This proves nothing. Tomorrow I will send my best fighters to your ship. We shall see how your deathworld strength performs against true Carvani warriors. The transmission ended, leaving the briefing room in tense silence. Vestan looked around at the human faces surrounding him. You must understand, Kelmora has never been defeated in single combat. She has killed over 300 enemy warriors in personal duels. She is everything the Carvani military represents. Maya met his 4-eyed gaze steadily. Then tomorrow we'll show her what humans represent. You cannot win, Vestan warned. Even with your superior strength, you lack training, weapons, and experience. Kelmora will kill you all. Danny Rodriguez smiled grimly. Vestan, you're about to learn something important about humans. We don't just come from a death world. We conquered it. That night, the crew of the Terra Nova worked frantically to prepare for the coming battle. Dr. Carter had connected to the Carvani ship's database through their medical equipment. downloading everything he could about their biology and combat methods. Maya found herself in the ship's small gym, working out with weights that now seemed impossibly light. Every barbell felt like it was made of foam. She had always thought the gym equipment was set to normal difficulty, but now she realized the truth. "Having trouble?" Danny asked, entering the gym with his own workout gear. "Everything feels so light," Maya replied, easily lifting what should have been her maximum weight with one hand. "How did I never notice this before?" Danny began his own workout routine. As Maya's older brother, he had always been protective of her, but now he was seeing her in a completely new light. "Dr. Carter says it's psychological. We've always compared ourselves to other humans, so we never realized how strong we actually are." Dr. Carter's voice came over the intercom. "All senior staff to the briefing room. We've got new information." They gathered around the main table where Carter had spread out dozens of alien anatomical charts and data tablets. Vestan was there too, looking exhausted but alert. "I've been studying Carvani physiology all night," Carter began. "Their entire evolution is based on efficiency and energy conservation. Look at this." He activated a holographic display showing the internal structure of a Carvani warrior. Their bones are hollow like bird bones designed for minimal weight. Their muscles are built for quick, precise movements rather than raw power. Their skin is actually a form of natural armor, but it's designed to deflect energy weapons, not kinetic impacts. Captain Morrison leaned forward. "What does this mean for combat?" "It means that what we consider normal human strength is absolutely devastating to them," Carter explained. "A punch that would bruise another human could shatter Carvani ribs. A kick could break their spine." Vestan listened to this analysis with growing unease. "You speak of violence so casually." "We're not violent by choice," Maya said, "but when someone threatens our people, we fight back." "Your people," Vestan repeated. "How many humans exist?" Communications Officer Kate Williams checked her data. "Sharikad. Earth's population is about 12 billion. We have colonies on 43 worlds with a total population of about 8 billion more." The alien warlord's four eyes widened in shock. 20 billion? That is more than the entire Carvani Empire. "And every single one of them is as physically capable as Maya," Dr. Carter added. "Earth didn't just produce a few strong individuals. The entire species evolved under extreme conditions. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks had been analyzing the weapons taken from the Carvani boarding party. Their equipment is fascinating but completely wrong for fighting humans. These energy rifles are designed to disrupt nervous systems, not cause physical damage. They probably work great against other alien species, but human nervous systems are different." "Different how?" Captain Morrison asked. Brooks activated another display. "Human neural networks are redundant and heavily protected. We have backup pathways for almost every brain function. It's another survival adaptation from Earth. A human can survive brain injuries that would kill most other species." Dr. Thompson, who had been monitoring Vexathan's medical data, looked up from her scanner. "Speaking of survival adaptations, I've been comparing human and Carvani healing rates. Humans recover from injuries about 4 times faster." "Because we had to," Maya said quietly. "On Earth, if you couldn't heal quickly from injuries, you died." Vestan was looking more troubled by each new revelation. "Your world created perfect warriors." "No," Danny corrected him. "Our world created survivors. There's a difference." Kate Williams looked up from her communications station. "Captain, I'm picking up another transmission from the Carvani fleet. War Chief Kelmora is sending over her combat selections." The main screen activated, showing Kelmora in what appeared to be an armory. Behind her stood 4 massive Carvani warriors, each one larger and more heavily armed than Vestan had. "Been humans of the vessel Terra Nova," Kelmora announced. "These are my chosen champions. War Leader Thaxmor, destroyer of the Centauri Rebellion. Battlemaster Zekhun, killer of 1,000 enemies. Bladesinger Voxtal, undefeated in 50 duels. And Warhammer Grixnor, breaker of armies." Each warrior was introduced with their weapons and achievements. Their armor was thicker than Vexthan's, their weapons more advanced. They looked like living engines of destruction. Tomorrow at midday they will board your vessel for honorable combat, Kellamora continued. You will select 4 champions to face them. The battles will be individual duels, fought until death or surrender. If your champions win, we will consider opening negotiations. If they lose, your ship will be destroyed as an example to other humans. The transmission ended, leaving the briefing room in silence. Well, Captain Morrison said finally. I guess we need to select our champions. I'll fight, Maya said immediately. And me, Danny added. Chief Security Officer Ryan Brooks stepped forward. Count me in. They looked around for a 4th volunteer. Dr. Carter raised his hand tentatively. I've never been in a real fight, but I'll do it if necessary. No, Vestan said from his wheelchair. You do not understand what you are facing. These are not ordinary Carvani warriors. They are the elite of our military. Each one has killed hundreds of enemies in personal combat. So? Danny asked. They're still built like birds compared to us. Vestan shook his head. Superior physical strength will not be enough. They have training, experience, and weapons designed specifically for killing. You need to understand their combat methods. Over the next several hours, Vestan provided detailed information about each of the selected champions. Thaxmore was a master of energy weapons and psychological warfare. Zekun specialized in close combat with bladed weapons. Foxtel was incredibly fast and used sonic weapons that could disorient enemies. Grixnor was a heavy weapons specialist who had once destroyed an entire city with his portable artillery. They will try to use your inexperience against you, Vestan explained. Carvani combat doctrine relies on intimidation, superior reach, and advanced weapons. They will expect you to be afraid. Are you trying to help us or discourage us? Maya asked. Vestan was quiet for a moment. I am trying to keep you alive. If you die tomorrow, Kellamora will use it as proof that humans can be defeated. She will recommend the complete destruction of your species. Dr. Carter had been taking notes on everything Vestan told them. What if we win? What if we defeat all 4 champions? Then Kellamora will be forced to report that humans are even more dangerous than initially believed, Vestan replied. The Empire's response will be swift and overwhelming. Captain Morrison stood up. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Perhaps, Vestan said. Unless what? Maya asked. The alien warlord looked around the room at each human face. Unless you can prove that humans and Carvani can coexist, that your species is not a threat to the Empire, but potentially an ally. How do we do that? Morrison asked. Vestan's 4 eyes focused on Maya. By showing mercy to defeated enemies. By demonstrating that human strength can be used to protect, rather than destroy. The Empire fears you because they believe you are conquerors like us. Danny frowned. But we're not conquerors. We're explorers. Then prove it, Vestan said simply. Tomorrow, when you have the opportunity to kill Kelmora's champions, choose instead to spare them. Show the Carvani Empire that humans fight only when necessary, and show mercy when possible. Maya looked around at her fellow crew members. And, if that doesn't work, if they see mercy as weakness? Vestan's expression was grave. Then you will have to do what no species has ever done before. You will have to defeat the entire Carvani Empire in open warfare. The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Tomorrow's duels were not just about the survival of their ship. They were about the survival of the entire human race. 3 days after the duels, tension aboard the Terra Nova had reached a breaking point. War Chief Kelmora had returned to her flagship to compile her report for High Command, but communications between the ships had grown increasingly hostile. Maya was in the medical bay, helping Dr. Thompson treat the Carvani warriors who had been injured during the duels. Despite their defeat, the alien champions had recovered quickly and were eager to learn more about human combat techniques. Your strength is incredible, Warhammer Grixnor said, flexing his arm carefully. But it is your restraint that truly impresses me. Any Carvani warrior would have killed a defeated enemy to prevent future challenges. That's the difference between a warrior and a soldier, Maya replied. Warriors fight for honor and respect. Soldiers fight for victory at any cost. Battlemaster Zekhun looked up from his medical bed. Is that why you show us kindness even after we tried to kill you? You weren't trying to kill us, Maya said. You were following orders and fighting with honor. That deserves respect. Dr. Carter entered the medical bay carrying a data tablet and looking worried. Maya, we need to talk. I've been monitoring Carvani communications, and there's something you need to know. They moved to a private area where Carter activated his tablet's security features. Kelmora's report to High Command was intercepted by several junior officers in her fleet. They're not happy with what she wrote. What did she say? Maya asked. That humans are potentially valuable allies rather than threats to be eliminated, Carter explained. Several of her subordinates are calling this treason. They believe she's been corrupted by human influence. Before Maya could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Captain Morrison's voice came over the intercom. All hands to battle stations. The Carvani fleet is moving into attack formation. Maya ran to the bridge where she found the crew frantically preparing for combat. On the main screen, she could see Carvani warships maneuvering around the Terra Nova, their weapons charging. What's happening? Maya asked. Communications officer. Kate Williams looked up from her station. We're receiving multiple transmissions from different Carvani ships. It looks like there's some kind of internal conflict in their fleet. Put them through, Captain Morrison ordered. The main screen split to show two different Carvani commanders. On the left was War Chief Kelmora, speaking from what appeared to be her ship's bridge. On the right was a larger, more heavily scarred Carvani warrior that Maya didn't recognize. War Chief Kelmora, the unknown alien said, his voice filled with contempt. You have brought shame upon the Carvani Empire. Your report to High Command recommending alliance with these humans is an act of cowardice. Sub-Commander Draktos, Kelmora replied coldly. You forget yourself. I am in command of this fleet, and my orders are to be followed without question. Draktos laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Not anymore. I have contacted High Command directly and informed them of your obvious compromise by human influence. They have given me authority to assume fleet command and complete the original mission. Which is what exactly? Captain Morrison asked. Draktos turned his attention to the human captain. To test human combat capabilities through controlled orbital bombardment of your colony worlds. We will destroy one human settlement every 6 hours until you surrender your ship for detailed study. Maya felt her blood run cold. You're talking about genocide. I am talking about proper military doctrine, Draktos replied. Species that cannot be controlled must be eliminated before they become a threat to the Empire. On her part of the split screen, Kelmora looked furious. Draktos, I am still in command of this fleet. Stand down immediately. You lost that authority when you allowed human weakness to corrupt your judgment, Draktos answered. Guards, arrest the former war chief for treason against the Empire. The screen showed Carvani soldiers moving to surround Kelmora on her bridge. She drew her sidearm, but was quickly overwhelmed by superior numbers. Maya looked at Captain Morrison. We have to help her. Help the alien who came here to conquer us? Security Chief Danny Rodriguez asked. Help the alien who chose diplomacy over destruction, Maya corrected. She could have ordered our deaths, but instead she tried to find a peaceful solution. Before Morrison could respond, another transmission came through. This one was from Vestan, speaking from what appeared to be the Carvani medical facility where he was being treated. Humans of the Terra Nova, he said urgently. You must listen carefully. Draktos has seized control of most of the fleet, but several ships remain loyal to Kelmora. If you can rescue her from the flagship, we might be able to prevent a massacre. Why should we trust you? Danny asked. Because, Vestan replied. Draktos has already begun targeting your colony worlds. Long-range sensors show Carvani attack ships moving toward your nearest settlement. They will arrive in 18 hours. Captain Morrison turned to his senior staff. Options. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks pulled up tactical displays. The Carvani flagship is heavily defended, but their weapons are designed for ship-to-ship combat. If we could get a boarding party aboard, a boarding party of humans, Dr. Carter added, could probably tear through their security like paper. Maya was already moving toward the door. I'm going. Maya, wait, Morrison called after her. This isn't just a rescue mission. If we attack that ship, we're committing an act of war against the entire Carvani Empire. Maya paused at the doorway. Captain, they're already planning to destroy human colonies. The war started the moment Draktos gave that order. Now we just have to decide whether we're going to fight back. Danny stepped up beside his sister. She's right. And if we're going to fight, we might as well start by saving someone who tried to help us. Chief Security Officer Brooks nodded. I'm in too. We can use their own shuttle to get aboard. They won't expect a direct assault. Dr. Carter looked nervous but determined. You'll need someone who understands Carvani technology and biology. I'm coming with you. Captain Morrison looked around at his crew, seeing the determination in their faces. All right, but this is a rescue mission only. Get Kelmora out and return to the ship. We're not trying to capture their flagship. An hour later, Maya found herself aboard a Carvani shuttle with Danny, Brooks, and Carter. They had modified their uniforms with basic body armor, but they were still essentially flying into combat with nothing but their natural human abilities. Everyone remember the plan? Maya asked as they approached the enemy flagship. Get to the bridge, rescue Kelmora, and get out before they realize what happened, Danny replied. Simple enough. Dr. Carter was studying the ship's schematics on his tablet. The Carvani design philosophy emphasizes efficiency over security. Their internal defenses are minimal because they never expected to face boarding actions. The shuttle docked with the flagship without incident. Draktos's forces were apparently too busy preparing for the attack on human colonies to pay attention to routine traffic. They made their way through the ship's corridors, which were clearly designed for the 9-foot-tall Carvani, rather than human-sized beings. Everything was oversized and somehow fragile-looking, with thin walls and lightweight construction. This whole ship feels like it could fall apart if you leaned on it wrong, Brooks observed. Because it probably could, Carter replied. Remember, these people evolved on a low-gravity world. They build everything light and efficient. They encountered their first guards near the bridge level. 3 Carvani warriors in full armor blocked the corridor, carrying energy weapons and looking confident in their ability to stop intruders. Halt, one of them called out. This area is restricted to authorized personnel only. Maya stepped forward, her hands empty and non-threatening. We're here to see War Chief Kelmora. We have important information for her. The guard laughed. Kelmora is no longer in command. Sub-Commander Draktos leads this fleet now. Return to your shuttle immediately or face the consequences. I was hoping we could do this peacefully, Maya said with a sigh. Then she moved. Q. 3 guards never had a chance to fire their weapons. Maya disarmed the first one by crushing his rifle in her hands. Danny took care of the second by simply picking him up and gently setting him aside. Brooks handled the third by bending his weapon into an impossible shape. All 3 Carvani guards were unconscious within seconds, having fainted from shock rather than being injured by the humans. Well, Carter observed, that was easier than expected. They reached the bridge to find Kelmora locked in an energy cage, guarded by a dozen more Carvani warriors. Draktos stood at the command station, directing the fleet's movements toward human space. Sub-Commander, Maya called out as they entered the bridge. We're here to make you an offer. Draktos turned around, his 4 eyes widening in surprise. Humans, how did you get aboard my ship? We walked, Danny replied simply. Your security isn't very good. Guards, kill them, Draktos ordered. What followed was less a battle than a demonstration. 12 Carvani warriors with advanced weapons faced 4 humans with nothing but their natural abilities. Within minutes, all 12 guards were unconscious, their weapons destroyed, and their commander staring in disbelief. Maya walked over to the energy cage and examined the control mechanism. Dr. Carter, can you figure out how to open this? The bridge of the Carvani flagship was in chaos. Sub-Commander Draktos stood surrounded by his unconscious guards, staring in disbelief at the humans who had just destroyed his security forces without breaking a sweat. "This is impossible," he whispered. 12 trained warriors defeated by four people from a death world, Kelmora finished, rubbing her wrists where the energy restraints had been. She looked at Maya with something approaching respect. "You came back for me, even after I threatened your people." "You tried to find a peaceful solution," Maya replied. "That deserves loyalty." Draktos backed away from the group, his hand moving toward a communication device on his belt. "High Command must hear about this. The humans are even more dangerous than we feared." Danny Rodriguez stepped forward and simply took the device from the alien commander's belt, crushing it in his palm like an empty can. "I don't think so, Doctor." Carter was studying the bridge displays, his face growing pale as he read the tactical information. "Maya, we have a problem. Draktos has already sent attack ships toward the human colony of New Haven. They'll arrive in 12 hours. "How many ships?" Maya asked. Kelmora moved to the command station and pulled up the fleet deployment. 6 heavy cruisers and 12 destroyers. More than enough to destroy a civilian settlement. "Can we stop them?" Chief Engineer Brooks asked. Kelmora looked at the tactical display thoughtfully. "Not with just your ship. The Terra Nova is an exploration vessel, not a warship. But..." She paused, her 4 eyes focusing on something in the data. "But what?" Maya pressed. "Several ships in this fleet remain loyal to me," Kelmora explained. "If I could regain control of them, we might have enough firepower to intercept the attack force." Draktos laughed bitterly. "You think my captains will follow a commander who has been corrupted by human influence? They know you are no longer fit to lead." "Then we'll have to convince them," Maya said simply. "What would it take to prove that Kelmora is still a capable leader?" Bexathon's voice came over the ship's communication system. "If I may suggest something," the former warlord said from wherever he was being held. "Carvani military law allows for challenges to command authority. Any officer can demand single combat with their superior to test fitness for leadership." Draktos's face went pale. "You would not dare. I am the strongest warrior in this fleet. I have never been defeated in personal combat." Kelmora smiled, showing her sharp teeth. "I would not be the one fighting you, Draktos." The sub-commander looked confused. "Then who? You cannot ask one of your subordinates to fight in your place. That would be seen as cowardice." "Not a subordinate," Kelmora said, looking at Maya. "An ally." Maya understood immediately. "You want me to fight him?" "According to Carvani law," Kelmora explained, "a commander can name a champion to fight on their behalf if that champion has already proven their strength in honorable combat. You defeated Grixenor, one of our greatest warriors. That gives you the right to represent me." Draktos looked at Maya with growing alarm. "She is not Carvani. She has no standing under our laws. She has the standing of someone who has never been defeated in combat," Kelmora replied coldly. "Can you say the same?" Dr. Carter was checking his datapad nervously. "Maya, according to what I've learned about Carvani physiology, this Draktos is probably stronger and more experienced than any of the warriors you faced before." "I'll take that chance," Maya said. "How long do we have before those ships reach New Haven?" Kelmora checked the tactical display. 11 hours and 37 minutes. "Then let's get this done quickly," Maya replied. Word of the challenge spread quickly through the Carvani fleet. Within an hour, representatives from every ship had arrived aboard the flagship to witness the combat. The main hangar bay was cleared to serve as an arena, with the entire space surrounded by Carvani warriors eager to see their sub-commander defeat the human who had caused so much trouble. Draktos appeared in full ceremonial armor, carrying weapons that looked like they could destroy small buildings. He was larger than any Carvani Maya had faced before, standing nearly 10 feet tall and covered in the scars of 100 battles. "This is your last chance to surrender, human," he called out as he entered the arena. "I have killed warriors from a dozen different species. Your death will serve as an example to the rest of your kind." Maya walked into the arena wearing her standard Earth Defense Corps uniform and carrying no weapons. She looked tiny compared to the massive alien warrior, but her movements were calm and confident. "I'm not here to kill you," Maya said loudly enough for all the watching Carvani to hear. "I'm here to prove that strength and cruelty are not the same thing." The combat began with Draktos firing his energy weapons from long range. The blue beams struck Maya's center mass, and the watching aliens expected to see her collapse. Instead, she shook her head and kept walking forward. "Impossible," Draktos muttered, switching to a different weapon. "My neural disruptors have never failed." "Different nervous system," Maya replied, now close enough to see the fear starting to appear in the sub-commander's 4 eyes. Draktos drew a massive blade and swung it at Maya's head. She caught the weapon in her bare hand, stopping the swing. Completely. The watching Carvani gasped in amazement. "You want to know what real strength looks like?" Maya asked, crushing the blade into metal fragments. "It's not about how much you can destroy, it's about how much you can protect." She reached out and grabbed Draktos by the front of his armor, lifting the 10-foot-tall alien off the ground with one hand. The sub-commander struggled frantically, but he might as well have been trying to break free from a mechanical vice. "You had the chance to choose diplomacy," Maya continued, holding him at eye level. "Instead, you chose to attack innocent civilians. That's not strength, that's cowardice." She set Draktos back down on the ground, but kept her grip on his armor. "Now you have a choice. Stand down and help us stop those ships from attacking New Haven, or spend the rest of this fight unconscious on the floor." Draktos looked around at the hundreds of Carvani warriors watching the combat. All of them had seen him lifted into the air like a child. His reputation as an unbeatable fighter was destroyed forever. I yield," he said quietly. "Louder," Maya said, "so everyone can hear you." "I yield to the human champion," Draktos called out, his voice carrying across the hangar bay. "War Chief Kelmora is the rightful commander of this fleet." Maya released him and stepped back. "Good choice." The watching Carvani erupted into discussion, their voices creating a buzz of conversation that echoed through the hangar. Many of them looked impressed rather than angry. They were warriors themselves, and they could recognize skill when they saw it. Kelmora moved to the center of the arena. "By right of combat, I resume command of this fleet. All ships are to change course and intercept our attack force before they reach the human colony." One of the ship captains, a heavily scarred Carvani with intricate armor markings, stepped forward. "War Chief, what are your orders regarding the humans?" Kelmora looked at Maya, then at the assembled warriors. "The humans have proven themselves to be honorable opponents and valuable allies. Any ship captain who wishes to continue serving under my command will treat them with the respect due to fellow warriors." Several of the Carvani officers nodded approvingly. Others looked uncertain but willing to follow orders. "What about High Command?" another captain asked. "They will not approve of alliance with an unknown species." Vestan, who had been brought to the hangar bay in a wheelchair, spoke up from the edge of the arena. "Then perhaps it is time for the Carvani Empire to learn something new. For 200 years we have conquered through fear and superior technology. But we have never encountered allies who could match our strength while exceeding our wisdom." He gestured toward Maya with his uninjured hand. "The humans offer us something we have never had. Partners instead of subjects. Friends instead of slaves. Perhaps it is time to try a different path." Kelmora nodded slowly. "The old ways brought us 47 conquered worlds, but no true allies. The humans offer us friendship freely given, which is worth more than 1,000 subjugated planets." Maya stepped forward to address the assembled Carvani. "We don't want to conquer anyone. We don't want to rule over you or make you serve us. We just want to explore the galaxy and learn from the people we meet. If that makes us allies, then we're honored to stand with you." The hangar bay fell silent as the alien warriors considered her words. Finally, the scarred captain who had spoken earlier stepped forward and drew his ceremonial blade. For a moment Maya tensed, but then he reversed the weapon and offered her the handle. "I am Captain Mordak of the Star Render," he announced formally. "If War Chief Kelmora vouches for the humans, then they have my loyalty as well." One by one, other Carvani officers followed his example, offering their weapons to Maya as a sign of respect and alliance. Not all of them participated, but enough did to make it clear that the tide of opinion was shifting. Kellamora watched the ceremony with satisfaction. Now let us go save your colony world. It will be our first joint operation as allies. Maya looked around at the alien warriors who had just pledged their support to her people. This isn't how I expected my first deep space mission to go. The combined human Carvani fleet moved through space at maximum speed, racing to intercept the attack ships before they could reach New Haven Colony. Maya stood on the bridge of the Terra Nova, watching the tactical display as their improvised alliance coordinated their approach. "How long until we intercept?" Captain Morrison asked. Communications Officer Kate Williams checked her instruments. 4 hours until we reach the outer system. The attack force should arrive at New Haven 6 hours after that. Cutting it close, Security Chief Danny Rodriguez observed. War Chief Kelmora's voice came over the communication channel from her flagship. "Human vessel Terra Nova, we are receiving transmissions from the attack force. They are demanding to know why we have changed course." "What are you telling them?" Maya asked. "That we have discovered new intelligence about human capabilities and are moving to support their operation," Kelmora replied. "They believe we are bringing additional firepower to ensure the colony's complete destruction." Dr. Carter looked up from his analysis station. "Maya, I've been studying the Carvani fleet composition. Even with Kelmora's loyal ships, we're outnumbered 2-1. If this turns into a straight fight, we might not win." "It won't be a straight fight," Maya said confidently. "We have advantages they don't expect." Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks activated a holographic display showing the approaching battle zone. The attack force is arranged in standard Carvani formation, heavy ships in front, destroyers providing support fire. It's designed to overwhelm static defenses through superior firepower. "What they're not expecting," Maya continued, "is boarding actions. Carvani ships aren't designed to resist internal threats." Captain Morrison looked concerned. "Maya, you're talking about attacking 18 enemy vessels simultaneously. Even with our capabilities, that's asking a lot." "Not just us," Maya said, with a smile. "We have allies now." Vexathon, who had been transferred to the Terra Nova for medical treatment, wheeled his chair onto the bridge. "The humans are correct. Carvani military doctrine has never accounted for internal sabotage or boarding actions. Our ships are vulnerable once enemies get inside." "But how do we get boarding parties onto 18 ships at once?" Dr. Carter asked. Maya pulled up the tactical display. "We don't need to board all of them, just the command ships. If we can take control of the fleet leaders, the rest will follow orders." Kelmora's voice crackled over the communicator. "Lieutenant Rodriguez is correct. Carvani military structure is highly hierarchical. Remove the command authority, and the subordinate ships will await new orders rather than act independently." 2 hours later, Maya found herself suited up in a Carvani environment suit, modified to fit human proportions. She was aboard a small assault shuttle with Danny, Brooks, and Dr. Carter, approaching the enemy fleet's flagship. "Remember," she said over the comm system, "we're not here to destroy their ships. We want to capture them intact so we can use them to call off the attack." The shuttle docked with the enemy flagship without raising suspicion. Draktos' earlier transmissions had convinced the attack force that reinforcements were arriving, so they weren't expecting treachery from their own side. Maya's team made their way through the ship's corridors following the schematics Vexthon had provided. The Carvani crew members they encountered were completely unprepared for resistance, especially from beings who could tear through their bulkheads with bare hands. "This is almost too easy," Brooks observed as they subdued another group of guards, without firing a shot. "That's the point," Maya replied. "They're not designed for this kind of combat." They reached the bridge to find the ship's captain, a grizzled Carvani.